Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Say It.
Hey everyone, great to have you here with us. I am Mike.
And I am Sarah. So glad you're joining us today.
Sarah, my friend sent me a voice message this morning. Totally normal, nothing special. Listen to this.
Go for it.
Sorry, running late. Had to sort something out before I could get out the door. Can you pick up milk on your way back?
Yeah, that's just a normal text. What's the big deal?
Here's the thing. Count how many small, boring little words in that message could completely confuse a learner. Sort out, get out, pick up, way back.
Whoa, 4 in one tiny message?
And none of them mean what the individual words suggest. Sort out isn't about sorting anything. Get out isn't really about getting.
Okay, that's genuinely a little terrifying.
It gets bigger than that, though. There's real research behind this. A huge study of actual spoken and written English found that just 20 verbs combined with a handful of small words build more than half of everyday English.
Wait, seriously? Half from 20 verbs?
More than half out of thousands of possible combinations that exist in English.
There it is. So today, we're covering exactly those 20. By the end of this episode, you'll catch them in conversations without even stopping to think.
You bet. Let's get started.
But first, please like and subscribe to Say It. Every new like and subscriber genuinely motivates us to keep making these for you.
All right, 20 verbs. Let's see how many of these you already use without realizing it.
So let's start with the one idea that makes all 20 of these make sense.
I'm ready.
Take one verb, get. Now add a tiny word after it. Back, out, away.
Get back, get out, get away.
Same verb every time. 3 completely different meanings.
Get back is returning somewhere. Get out is leaving. Get away is escaping, usually with some difficulty.
Exactly. The verb barely changes anything. That tiny word after it is doing almost all the work.
So the verb is kind of just a container.
That's exactly it. A small container, and the little word decides what actually goes inside.
So here's the one rule for today before we go any further.
Which is?
That little word after the verb, don't trust it to mean what it normally means.
Sometimes it does, though. Sit down, come in. Those are exactly what they sound like.
Right, sometimes it's completely literal, but other times that same little word flips the whole meaning and you'd never guess it from the words alone.
Nailed it. 20 verbs, a handful of these little words. Let's see exactly how far that takes us. Let's start with the verb that shows up in almost everything. Get.
Get is basically the most flexible verb in English.
It really is. So let's play a quick game. Mike, imagine you just woke up. What do you say?
I got up.
Quick note before we go further. Got is the past form of get. It's irregular, so it doesn't just add ed.
Right, get, got, gotten. Worth remembering because you'll hear got constantly with every single one of these.
Now imagine a few minutes later, you're finally leaving the bed.
I got off the bed.
So what's the difference?
Oh, I see it now. Get up is waking up, but get off is actually leaving something you were on or in or at.
Exactly right. Get up is about starting your day, no matter how early or late that is.
I got up at 6 today. My roommate didn't get up until 11.
That's a big gap. And it's not always about waking up either. Sometimes people say it about standing up from sitting somewhere.
Like what? Like he got up from the table to answer the door.
Okay, that clicks. It's really about that upward movement. Out of bed, up from a chair, same idea.
Exactly. Anytime you go from lying or sitting to standing, get up fits.
Okay, now get off. You said get off the bed a second ago.
Right. And get off is really about stepping away from something you were on or in or at.
Give me a real one.
I get off work at 5 today.
Wait, really? So you're not touching anything physical there. Work isn't a bus or a bed.
Right, but it's the same idea. You're at work, and then you leave it.
What about something you're actually sitting on?
Same thing. I need to get off this train at the next stop.
So whether it's a train, a bus, or even work itself, you're always leaving something you were on or at.
Exactly. Same signature every time.
Okay, now here's one that's less about places and more about people. Get along.
This one's about relationships.
Imagine you have a new coworker and things are going really well between you two.
I get along with her.
Exactly. You get along with someone when you have a good, easy relationship with them. No tension, no drama.
What about the opposite? My brother and I never used to get along.
Oh boy, sibling stuff.
We fought about everything as kids.
And now?
Now we get along great. It just took some growing up.
So, get along can go both directions. You can get along well or not get along at all.
Exactly. Now get over.
I'm getting over it.
Get over means to recover, to move past something difficult.
It's not instant, though. It's a process.
Right, that's the whole feeling behind it. Like, it took me months to get over losing that job.
And it works for smaller things, too. I finally got over my cold this week.
Small or huge, same word. You're recovering from something that was affecting you.
This one genuinely comes up everywhere once you start listening for it.
You bet. Get up, get off, get along, get over. 4 completely different jobs from one tiny verb.
And get genuinely goes even deeper than this. We've got a full episode just on get, got, and getting if you want to go even further with it.
Definitely worth a watch alongside this one.
Okay, next verb. Turn.
Turn is interesting because it starts completely literal, and then it changes on you.
Let's do the game again. Imagine it's dark in your room and you want light.
I turn on the light.
And now you're leaving the room so you don't need it anymore.
I turn off the light.
So far, totally literal. On means starting something, off means stopping it.
Right, and it's not just lights. Turn on the TV, turn off your phone, turn on the shower.
Anything with a switch or a button, basically.
Exactly, and it works for more than devices, too. You can turn on the car, turn on the AC.
Give me one more, something without an actual switch.
Okay, turn on the water. There's no button, just a tap, but the idea is the same. You're starting the flow of something.
Oh, I see it now. It's not really about switches. It's about starting or stopping something you can control.
Exactly right. Now here's where it gets interesting. Turn out.
This one doesn't sound like it should mean what it means.
It really doesn't. Imagine you planned a party and you were nervous nobody would show up.
But it turned out great.
Exactly. Turn out is about how something ends up, especially when you didn't expect it.
Wait, really? So it's not about turning anything, and it's not about anything being out?
Not at all. It's just describing a result.
Give me a different one, not a party.
Okay, I was really worried about the exam, but it turned out to be pretty easy.
So there's always this feeling of surprise built in. You expected one thing and something else happened.
Usually, yeah. You don't really say it turned out for something totally expected.
That's actually the biggest trap with this one. People hear turn and think it's about turning something physically, but it's really just about how things resolve.
Turn on, turn off. Literal. Turn out, a result.
Same verb, completely different job.
Turn really is the trickster of this list.
Honestly, most of these verbs have some kind of trick hiding in them.
This next one has two, actually.
Two tricks in one phrase? Great.
Let's start with the simplest one. Imagine you're telling a story, and you pause for a second.
Go on.
Exactly. That's someone encouraging you to continue.
So it's basically keep talking, keep going.
Right, and it works outside of stories, too. The meeting went on for 2 hours.
Quick flag there. Went is the past of go, completely irregular, doesn't look like the base verb at all.
Yeah, go, went, gone. That one trips people up because it's nothing like go.
Good to know before it shows up again. So in that sentence, went on just means something continued, kept happening.
Exactly. No new event, nothing changes, it just keeps going.
What about something totally different, like a mystery?
Good one. Something strange is going on in that building.
That makes sense. So now it's not about continuing at all. It's about something happening, something you're noticing.
Right, that's actually a separate use. Go on can mean continue, or it can mean happening, especially when you're a little suspicious about it.
That's genuinely surprising. Same two words, and depending on the situation, it's either keep going or something's up.
Exactly. Now let's do go out, which is much simpler.
Imagine it's Friday night and you friends decide to leave the house and do something.
We're going out tonight.
So that's just socializing, leaving the house for fun.
Exactly. Dinner, a movie, a bar, doesn't matter what. Going out just means you're heading out to do something social.
What if two people start dating?
Oh, that's actually the same phrase. They've been going out for 6 months.
So going out can mean leaving the house for the night, or it can mean you're in a relationship.
Both. Completely normal, and context tells you which one someone means.
This list really does keep doing that. Same words, different situation, different meaning entirely.
Go on, go out. There it is. 2 more down.
All right, let's keep moving. Next up, come.
Come back is probably the simplest one on this whole list.
Let's do the game. Imagine you moved away from your hometown for college, and after a few years, you moved back there.
I came back home.
Quick note, came is the past of come, also irregular. Come, came, come again for the past participle.
Yeah, that one's confusing because the past participle looks identical to the base form.
Good to notice now since we'll hear come and came a lot today. So come back. You left somewhere and now you're returning.
What if it's not a place, like a trend?
Great question. Skinny jeans are actually coming back this year.
Oh boy, I was not ready for that.
Same idea though. Something that existed before, disappeared for a while, and now it's returning.
So come back works for people returning somewhere and also for things becoming popular again.
Exactly. One more. Imagine a sports team is losing badly, but then they start scoring again and eventually win.
They came back and won.
Right, that's actually a really common one in American sports talk, a comeback.
Whoa, so places, trends, and comebacks in a game. Same phrase, 3 totally different situations.
Exactly. Now, come up with. This one's a little different.
Imagine you and a friend are trying to plan a birthday party and you're brainstorming ideas.
We came up with a great idea.
So that's inventing something, creating an idea out of nowhere.
Exactly. Nothing existed before, and suddenly there's a plan.
What about something less fun, like an excuse?
Perfect example, actually. I forgot to do my homework, so I came up with an excuse.
We've all done that.
Notice it's not always a good thing. Come up with is neutral. Ideas, excuses, plans, solutions, all fit.
One more. Something at work, maybe?
Sure, our team came up with a new strategy to increase sales.
There it is. Anytime something is created out of thinking, come up with fits.
You bet. Come back, come up with.
Both genuinely everywhere once you notice them.
And if you want to see everything else come can do, we actually have a whole episode dedicated just to come.
That one's worth watching right alongside this one, too.
These next two are honestly some of the most common phrasal verbs in the entire language.
Let's start with find out. Imagine your friend has been acting strange all week, and then you finally learn why.
I found out she got a new job.
Quick flag. Found is the past of find. Irregular, so it's not finded.
Right. Find, found, found, again for the past participle. Same form both times, which actually makes it easier.
Okay, that clicks. So find out means discovering something you didn't know before.
Exactly. Doesn't have to be gossip either. I found out the store closes early on Sundays.
So that's just learning a fact.
Right. Any new piece of information. Could be exciting news, could be something completely boring.
What if it's something bad, like being caught doing something wrong?
That works too. He found out his flight got canceled.
Oh no, that's rough.
It happens. But notice the feeling changes completely depending on the situation, even though the phrase stays exactly the same.
There it is. Good news, bad news, boring news, all fit under find out.
Exactly right. Now, give up. This one's a bit different.
Imagine someone joins a gym in January, all motivated, and by February they just stop going.
She gave up on going to the gym.
Quick note there, gave is the past of give, irregular too. Give, gave, given.
Right, so give up means quitting something, stopping an effort completely.
Wait, so it doesn't mean giving anyone anything?
Not at all, which honestly confuses a lot of learners at first. There's no object being handed over.
That makes sense actually. What about something bigger, like a habit?
My uncle gave up smoking last year.
Whoa, seriously? That's a huge one. Did it stick?
So far, he says the first few weeks were the hardest.
What if you're trying to solve something, like a puzzle, and it's just impossible?
That fits perfectly. I tried for an hour and I finally gave up.
So, give up covers quitting a habit, quitting a goal, or just quitting in the moment when something's too hard.
All the same feeling underneath. You had effort going towards something and you stopped.
Nailed it. Find out, give up. Both come up constantly in real conversations.
And give up is really just one small piece of everything give can do. We've got a full episode dedicated to give if you want the complete picture.
Definitely worth pairing with this one.
All right, next up, let's imagine a whole trip together. Picking up, putting on, putting off, taking off.
That's a lot packed into one imagination.
Let's break it down one at a time. First, pick up. Imagine your friend is arriving at the airport and you're driving to get them.
I'm gonna pick her up at the airport.
Exactly. Picked is just regular, by the way. Picked, nothing tricky there.
Good. One less thing to remember. So pick up there just means collecting someone.
Right, someone or something. You can pick up a person or pick up an object.
Give me an object example.
Sure. I need to pick up my dry cleaning before it closes.
Okay, that clicks. Something's waiting somewhere and you go get it.
Exactly. And there's actually a third meaning, totally different. Imagine you're traveling somewhere and you start learning a few words of the local language just from hearing it.
I picked up some Spanish while I was there.
Right, that's picking up a skill almost without trying.
Wait, seriously? 3 completely different things from one phrase. A person, an object, a skill?
Same verb every time. Okay, now imagine you're packing for this trip and it's cold where you're going.
I put on a jacket.
Quick flag, put is actually irregular, but it looks the same in every form. Put, put, put.
Oh, that's actually easier than most of these.
It is. So put on is just the action of putting clothes onto your body.
What about something that's not clothes?
You can put on music too. I put on some music for the drive.
There it is. Put on works for clothes and for starting something like music or a show.
Exactly. Now, here's a trickier one. Imagine you were supposed to pack today, but you decided to do it tomorrow instead.
I put off packing until tomorrow.
Right. Put off means delaying something, postponing it.
Oh boy, that's basically procrastinating.
Pretty much exactly that. Give me one from real life.
I put off calling the dentist for 3 weeks.
Classic. Anything you know you should do, but you keep delaying.
So put on is starting or wearing something, and put off is delaying something. Same verb, opposite energy almost.
Exactly right. Last one. You're finally at the airport, boarding the plane.
The plane took off on time.
Quick flag there. Took is the past of take, irregular. Take, took, taken.
Right. Taken is different again for the participle.
Good catch. So take off there is literal, a plane leaving the ground.
Is it work for people too?
It does, but differently. Imagine someone just leaves suddenly without much explanation.
He just took off without saying anything.
Exactly. That's leaving quickly, sometimes a little suddenly or mysteriously.
Huh, that makes sense. So take off works for planes leaving the ground and for people just disappearing quickly.
You bet. A whole trip and 4 phrasal verbs just from packing a bag and getting on a plane.
Pick up, put on, put off, take off. Officially covered.
Officially covered, and now let's slow down a little with a simpler pair. Look for and look after.
These two get mixed up a lot, I think.
They really do. Let's start with look for. Imagine you can't find your keys anywhere in the house.
I'm looking for my keys.
Right, and looked is completely regular, by the way. Nothing tricky there.
Good. So look for is just searching for something.
Exactly. Doesn't have to be an object either. Imagine you finished college and you're trying to start your career.
I'm looking for a job.
Right, same idea. You're searching just for something bigger than keys.
What about looking for a person?
That works too. I'm looking for my sister. Have you seen her?
Okay, that clicks. Look for really just means searching, whether it's an object, a job, or a person.
Exactly right. Now, look after. Imagine your neighbor goes on vacation and asks you to take care of her dog while she's gone.
I'm looking after her dog this week.
Exactly. Look after means taking care of someone or something.
Wait, really? So it's not about your eyes at all, even though it starts with look.
Not at all. That's actually the trap with this one. Give me a different example.
My grandmother looked after me when I was little while my parents worked.
That's a great one. Someone responsible for another person's well-being.
What about something that's not a person or a pet?
You can look after your health, too. You need to look after your health, especially during exam season.
So look after covers people, pets, and even things like your own health.
Exactly. And here's something worth noticing before we move on. With look after, you can never put the person in the middle.
What do you mean?
Like, you'd never say, look her after. It has to stay together, look after her.
Oh, I see it now. But earlier with pick up, we could say pick her up or pick up her friend, either way.
Right. Some of these are flexible about word order and some genuinely aren't. We'll come back to that properly a little later.
Good to keep in mind. Look for, look after. Simple, but easy to mix up.
And speaking of mixing things up, let's talk about one that genuinely confuses people. Makeup.
Oh, I actually know 2 totally different meanings for this one already.
Quick note first, made is the past of make. Irregular, so it's not maked.
Right. Make, made, made. Again for the participle. Good to lock in before we go further.
So imagine two friends have a big argument, and a few days later they talk it through and everything's fine again.
They made up.
Exactly. Make up there means reconciling, ending a conflict, going back to being okay with each other.
Wait, really? So it's got nothing to do with creating anything?
Nothing at all. It's purely about the relationship healing.
Give me another one, not friends this time.
Sure. My parents used to fight sometimes, but they always made up by the next morning.
That makes sense. So it works for any relationship, not just friends.
Exactly. Couples, friends, even siblings. Anytime there's conflict and then peace again.
Okay, now here's the second meaning I was thinking of. Imagine a kid didn't do their homework and they need an explanation for the teacher.
He made up an excuse.
Right, that's a completely different job. Make up there means inventing something, usually something not true.
So it's not about relationships at all this time.
Not even close. Give me one that's not an excuse.
Okay, she made up a story to explain why she was late.
So make up can mean fixing a relationship, or it can mean inventing something false. Two completely different situations, same exact phrase.
That's genuinely surprising every time I think about it.
And there's actually a third thing this reminds people of, even though it's not really the same phrasal verb.
You mean makeup, like cosmetics?
Exactly that. It's related historically, but as a noun, it's one word and it just means the products you put on your face.
Good to flag since it looks almost identical on the page.
Right, but as a phrasal verb, make up only ever means reconciling or inventing something.
Nailed it. One phrase, two real jobs, and one look-alike noun to watch out for.
And makeup is really just one small piece of everything make can do. We have a full episode dedicated to make if you want to go deeper.
That one pairs really well with this episode. One phrase, two real jobs, and one look-alike noun. And that actually brings us to something important. A few real mistakes learners make with these verbs.
Remember back with look after? You said we could never put the person in the middle.
Right, exactly. So let's actually name that properly now. Mistake number 1. Some of these verbs never split, no matter what.
Give me the wrong version.
People sometimes say, she looked the children after.
Oh, that sounds completely off.
It is. It has to stay together. Look after the children or look after them. Never in the middle.
So that's mistake number 1. What's the second one?
This one goes the opposite direction. Remember pick up? We said you could say pick her up or pick up her friend either way.
Right, that one was flexible.
Exactly. But here's the trap. With a person's name or a full description, both orders work fine. But the moment you use a pronoun like her, him, it, or them.
Wait, really? So the rule changes just because of a pronoun?
It does. With a pronoun, it always has to go in the middle. Pick her up is correct. Pick up her is wrong.
Give me one from today's list.
Sure. Turn it off, not turn off it. Put it on, not put on it.
That makes sense actually. So full names and descriptions are flexible, but pronouns always go in the middle.
Exactly. That single rule fixes probably the most common mistake with this whole list.
Okay, what's the third one?
This one's less about word order and more about assuming too much. Remember way back at the start we said don't trust the little word to mean what it normally means?
Right, that was the whole rule for today.
This is exactly where that mistake shows up. Someone hears give up and assumes it's about giving something to someone.
But it's actually about quitting.
Exactly. Or someone hears make up and assumes it's only about cosmetics.
when it's actually about reconciling or inventing something.
Right. So the mistake is trusting the individual words too much instead of learning the whole phrase as its own thing.
That's genuinely the trickiest one because it's not really a rule you can memorize. It's more of a mindset.
Exactly right. 3 mistakes. Some verbs never split, pronouns always go in the middle, and never trust the individual words alone.
Nailed it. Those 3 alone will fix most of the errors people make with this entire list.
All right. Those 3 mistakes will genuinely save you a lot of trouble. Now let's hear all of this working together in one real conversation.
Let's do it. 2 friends planning a weekend and see how many of today's verbs show up naturally.
Hey, so what time did you get up today?
Way too early, honestly. 6 a.m. I couldn't fall back asleep.
Oh no. So what's the plan for the weekend?
I was thinking we could go out Saturday night. There's that new place downtown.
I'm in. Actually, can you pick me up around 7?
Sure thing. Hey, did you find out if Jess is coming?
Yeah, she is. Although she and her roommate had a huge fight this week.
Whoa, really? Did they make up?
They did, actually. Took a couple days, but they're fine now.
Good. Honestly, I almost gave up on planning this whole thing. My week's been a mess.
What happened?
Work's just been a lot. I get off at 6 most days and I'm exhausted by the time I get home.
That's rough. Are you and your new manager getting along okay at least?
Actually, yeah, better than I expected.
That's good to hear. So, what should we do Saturday before going out?
We could come up with something during the day, too. Maybe a hike?
I like that. Just remember to put on sunscreen. It's supposed to be sunny.
Good call. Should I put off doing laundry until Sunday then?
Probably, yeah. Focus on the fun stuff first.
Deal. Oh, and can you look after my dog Saturday night? My neighbor's out of town.
Of course. What time does she need to go out?
Around 9 should be fine. Hey, did I tell you my flight got moved up? It takes off an hour earlier now.
Oh, that's annoying. When did you find that out?
This morning, actually. Kind of threw off my whole schedule.
Well, hopefully the whole weekend turns out great despite that.
I think it will. All right, let's pause there. Did you notice how many came up completely naturally?
A ton, honestly. Get up, get off, get along. Get over wasn't in there, but everything else basically was.
Right, and none of it felt like a lesson. It just felt like 2 people talking about their weekend.
That's actually the whole goal. Oh, one more thing before we wrap up. Did you notice how turn it off and pick it up always stress that little word harder than the verb itself?
Huh, I didn't consciously notice, but yeah, saying it out loud, the second word definitely gets the punch.
That's actually the real natural sound of these. Not just the words, but where the stress lands.
That's it exactly. Small detail, but it makes a real difference in how natural you sound.
Small detail, and a great one to end on. But now let's lock everything in before we go.
Let's do it fast and clean. Get up, get off, get along, get over.
Turn on, turn off, turn out.
Go on, go out.
Come back, come up with.
Find out, give up.
Pick up, put on, put off, take off.
Look for, look after.
And make up. 2 meanings, 1 phrase.
20 verbs, and honestly, that's more than half of everyday English right there.
And remember the 3 mistakes. Some verbs never split, pronouns always go in the middle, and never trust the individual words alone.
Here's something genuinely encouraging, too. A lot of learners naturally avoid phrasal verbs at first, just because they feel unfamiliar.
That's completely normal, and it fades fast with practice. The more you hear them and use them, the more automatic they become.
So here's your challenge. Write 1 sentence in the comments using a verb from today that actually describes your day.
We read every single one.
If this episode helped you, Share it with someone learning English.
And subscribe to Say It if you haven't already. We put a lot into every episode.
We really do. All right, we'll see you in the next one.
Take care, everyone.
Bye, everyone.